Hello there, Badgers. One angry pagan. So this question occurred to me. Well, it didn't occur to me. This showed up in a YouTube chat, and it's been running around my head, right? And this person asks, why is it that despite how much progress we make, we always end up reverting like to a really bad state again? And there are a couple of points that stick out to me as someone who, again, sees the reality through the eyes of evolution. And as the first one is, as much as we humans like to differentiate ourselves from nature, we are still animals. We are still a product of this planet. We behave with our behaviors still match various other mammals. And one of the things that we'll never get away from is what I see as sort of a, how do I explain this? If you were to look through the evolutionary record, right, time and again, what you'd see is periods of massive boom, and then for one reason or another, because mass extinctions don't just happen for one reason, like quite often it's for multiple different reasons, and it's a downtime, and then it comes back, and then it goes down, and then it comes back. It's like it's not. It's less of a cycle, and more of like pulses of growth, followed by a period of degrowth, I suppose, because that period of growth has gotten to a point where, at least in some occasions, where there are too many things relying on the limited resources, and so things start, dying off again, and then things bounce back, and then you get a mass extinction, and things start coming right down, and it comes, and then growth starts up again. Marry that thinking to human history, and I'm telling you, it lines up very similarly. The timelines. If you get a visual timeline, say, of because this is easier to see, you get a visual timeline, right? And again, like the periods of growth will happen, and then something will happen and comes back down again, and then it come up again, and then it come back down again. And there are a lot, and there aren't just a few of these dips. There are lots of these ups and downs throughout a graph of life's history, and you put that up against human history in terms of growth and say depopulation or degrowth, so to speak, and there's a similar sort of correlation. There's a correlation there. Like if you were to marry the two up against each other, where you get periods of boom and then periods of bust, so to speak, and then periods of boom again, and you get a major fucking say extinction level period, and comes all the way back down again, and then it just spends ages going, and then a big war, and then up again, and a big massive war, and then up again. You get my point? So no matter how much we try to differentiate ourselves as humans, we're still animals. We still follow the same rules, even if we think we don't. Now, this says to me that a period of downturn is almost inevitable for living things. And when you look at things, there was a long period of growth. And then we hit the 2008-2009 financial crisis, and that severely hit. There was some growth elsewhere, but most of the, in, say for example here in the UK, that growth stayed pretty stagnant, right? And then we were limited by Brexit. So you did like these different events, and you can. All we can really do is try to adapt to the situation. Like, it seems ridiculous to say this, but it comes across as if a lot of people's view on how the world should work is extraordinarily unrealistic. Like, we should only prepare for things to get better in the future. Like, no, things may get worse, and we need to teach that. We need to teach that start teaching that again from a young age. Like, take advantage of the benefits when times are good, but when times are bad or things are about to go bad, make sure you're fucking ready for it. It's all very well and good being upset at the situation, but like, it's also how you adapt. That means how you will survive. I'm sorry, I know this sounds really depressing, but the reality of the situation is, like, this is reality. You know, we won't. This is not something we can escape. There are always going to be periods of downturns or extreme downturns, and when that happens, we have to be prepared to toughen up and endure until times get better. The natural world does this every single year, and we as humans think we are arrogant enough. We are arrogant. Sorry, we humans are arrogant enough to think that we are now separate from that phase cycle, sort of, you know, the same periods of growth and decline, growth and decline, growth and decline. Like, we keep being certain with that, despite the fact that it keeps happening. We keep deluding ourselves into thinking, no, we can get us to a point where we don't have to go into decline again. That's just how life works. And a part of me thinks that, like, on a scientific level, that's so that we as life forms don't burn ourselves out. Like, more rest, more, like, the more liberal things have got, the longer the longer lifespans have got, meaning that there's been more those liberal policies have meant that there's been a lot more free time to enjoy life, which means because you're enjoying life more. And this is just speaking, like, this is just looking at the average, by the way. You know, I'm not saying that for every individual this is the case, but like, on the whole, over the last 80 years, things have gotten better and better and better. Like, periods of decline, sure, but on the whole, the graph has gone up. And then we get to 2008, 2009, and it starts and halts, and it's started to go steadily downhill since. And people are like, why? Well, there are different factors, but essentially it leads up to what I've been talking about. It's the natural way of things. And we as humans seem to believe we are above that. Well, I'm sorry, but we're not. I know that's a harsh way of thinking, but that's the realist. That's the non-idealist in me. Nearly everything else that lives fights to survive every single day. We are incredibly privileged as a species. I really think that's lost on a lot of people. Really do. Because people get scared of spiders, but every single day, spiders are like, always on they're hunting, yes, but at the very same time, they're paranoid about something hunting them. We don't have to live with that fear, not for the most part. So why do things get back? Let's start. Why do things progressively get good and then start declining again? Because this is the natural way of things. I hate boiling shit down to just one thing, but all those different factors essentially boil down to the fact that you know entropy is a thing. It's physics. You're never gonna things always change. Things always evolve. There are many dead ends, but at the same time there are progressions in different areas. So again, my main point I think is that this just the way of things, and instead of complaining at the way of things, actually learn to adapt. That sounds harsh, but for most of my life, I've been forced to adapt to most situations. And it just it does it speaks to an arrogance that we are above nature, and it's like, well, in some levels you can see that, sure, but when it comes to the growth and decline cycle pulses, um, it we're not getting away from that. And if you truly believe that's wrong, I seriously suggest you study life history, the history of life on this planet, like I have for my entire life. This is one of the fundamentals for me, and because of that, I have actually, on my journey through politics, I have become less idealistic the more I go through it. Now I'm suspecting that may switch a little bit at some point. You never know, because that kind of thing happens. But right now, I am on the trend of going away from idealism, because quite often idealism is just not realistic. Do I want things to get better? Sure, but I want realistic solutions, not just tax the wealthy. Right? Well, we'll see how that works, shall we? Instead of let's find really smart ways to tax the wealthy because they've advanced because they've gotten smarter in keeping the money to themselves. That's nature. You know if the predator adapts, you adapt as well as prey. If the prey adapts, the predator adapts. That's how it works. And again, this is just another area where I think humans believe themselves to be above such animalistic behaviours, despite the fact we are fucking animals. The predator-prey relationship is played out amongst humanity. We just do it to ourselves. Because we are, the dominant species in that regard, in terms of the effect that we have. We don't have any natural predators left. Unless we're out of our element. And even then, like, our brain and our long history of social evolution has outfitted us with extremely useful tools for survival. We are in a downturn. Now, hopefully, this decline won't last for too long. But on the other hand, it might. And we must be prepared to survive it. To be able to try and thrive through it. Because that's not impossible. I don't know. I could quite easily be, sink into depression, or things just continue to get shitter, things just continue to get worse. What's the point in fucking doing anything? The point is to survive until times get better, because eventually times will get better. And then you get the whole, oh, but when? I don't fucking know. When material circumstances allow for it. Bit of Marxism there for you. I'm sorry if I come across as impatient or condescending, but this really, I think, needs to be understood. We cannot just rely on the institutions to survive. We need to be able to, like, the part of the whole thing of voting for me is to get involved in the political system, in the political system, whatever way I can, in whatever small way I can, to try and affect whatever changes I can get, because that's how it works. %90 of the time, when you look throughout human history and someone's gone, no, we're going for a complete system change, it's the ordinary person that suffers. Like, people actually suffer through these changes. Bloodshed is very common when these things happen. So when people say we need a wholesale tax change to the tax system, yeah, I agree. I fully agree with that. But we need to work out how to do it with the least harm as possible. And try to limit that damage to the wealthiest. It would be nice if leftists actually thought about these things, come up with actually good ideas instead of just populist ideas. Perhaps you can come out with some really good ideas and then advertise them in a populist manner. But don't start from the populist angle. Start from the sensible angle. what do we need to do to bring about these changes with the least amount of harm caused possible? That should be the main goal of a socialist, of a leftist. But all I keep hearing is, let's just tax the rich. I had an argument with someone yesterday in the chat, and they were saying to me, "Oh, that's just apologia." No, it isn't apologia. The situation is a lot more nuanced than just tax the rich, because now taxing the rich is a lot more difficult. You need, when people like Gary Stevenson talk about how we and Jimmy the Giant, as much as I love the two of them, one thing that does my head in, and Jimmy's pointed this out before, but then he seemed to have forgot it since, is that during the 50s and 60s, yeah, in America, in Europe, in the United Kingdom, I mean, we're in Europe, but you get my point, the richest nations came to an agreement to tax the wealthiest. So, and they couldn't just fuck off to, say, the US to dodge that. It was called the Bretton Woods Agreement. We would need something like that now, if you want to do what is being suggested. Oh, like we did it before, why can't we do it again? Well, this is a really important reason why that happened. Oh, but like just saying, but what happened in the past? That's just what about it? No, it isn't. One of the things that made it possible to do the wealth taxes in the way they were done back in the 1560s was the Bretton Woods Agreement. But no, nuance seems to be fucking dead. And then I get called a centrist. And I'm like, no. I want to see change. But I also recognise that most of the changes that you're going to get are going to be through reforms. It's only once you've got enough reforms that you can make a bigger jump, because people are used to the different way of living at that point. I would much prefer to see cooperative businesses. I would much. I want to see nationalised public utilities. I want to see local democracy actually having an effect. Like, so the people can go to meetings, and actually what is said there actually has an effect, and the politicians don't just fucking ignore it and go and do what the fuck they want anyway. Socialism. But it's getting there in the first place. And I'm sorry, but I'm not convinced of revolution. Because whilst I recognise that harm is going to be caused, I want to cause as least harm as possible in the transition. And that's going to take time. The comparison here is like some of the good stuff that Labour's trying to get through in Parliament. Oh, why haven't we seen all the good stuff yet? Because it's still fucking going through Parliament. You've got to wait for it to happen. It's the same with this, with socialism, just on a bigger scale. And you've got to keep fighting for it. Not just give up when things get hard. Again, it sounds like I'm being condescending. If it sounds like I'm being condescending here, like, I'm sorry, but this is just the way I feel. And I'm getting really annoyed with a lot of the rhetoric coming from my own side that is just not useful. It's not hitting the pub. If the public aren't fucking responding to it, change it up. Adapt. Speak to people. Come out with policies that meet people where they and that meet the average person where they are. And unfortunately, yes, that means you're gonna have to try and woo over liberals, centrists, who are really wishy-washy. But they make up a larger portion of the voter base, especially in this country, than either the far left or the far right, or left or right. We need to be more realistic about the way we try to do these, try to engage with this politics. I understand the anger. I'm not exactly someone. I'm not far from a rich person myself. I live on disability benefits. But even I recognise the necessity to not be so damn ideological, not to be so damn idealistic. Sometimes that's necessary. The skill is recognising when it is and when it is not applicable. I'm not an absolutist. I don't believe in going full ahead with almost anything. Like even the environmentalism stuff. Like for me, one of the big considerations even on that is how do we transition without harming local economies through the transition, which is why there's a lot more often than not let's talk about the jobs they're created. We can dream. I'm not saying you can't dream for a better world, but like at the same time, you have to have realistic expectations. You really do if you want to actually engage with this stuff. Because otherwise, you're just constantly gonna be upset, and that's no way. To me, that's no way to live. It just isn't. I mean, at some point, you do have to like take a realistic look at the world and think, yeah, it's shit, but what can we actually do? And there are when you instead of going, oh, but I can't do anything. No, actually, look. Again, this is why I'm considering rejoining the Labour Party. Not because I like the Labour Party, but because I want to change the Labour Party. I've not done it yet. I'm still not decided on whether or not I will do it. But that's a pretty convincing that there is a pretty convincing argument to rejoin the party so I can change the party or help to try and change the party. Instead of standing on the outside and go nag, 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 bitch, 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 bitch. Actually want to actually go back in and once again have a word in some of the ears of people who are actually in power. Let me know what you guys think. Again, it's a little bit of a rant, but I feel that the way what I've laid out here is the more realistic way of viewing the world instead of constantly trying to rely on ideology or idealism. And it's why, at the moment, I find myself politically homeless. But I feel I have a clearer view of the world than someone who is just blind with rage at all the injustices going on. And again, it's not like I don't see these injustices, I do. But if I let myself be controlled by the outrage, I end up blinded to other stuff. And I try not to be blinded as much as possible. So let me know what you guys think. I'm stuck on whether or not to rejoin the Labour Party. Really need to be convinced. Like, if I'm going to join the Greens, I actually need to be convinced of that. I'm likely to need to actually have a debate with someone, like over Discord or something, to be convinced on that one. In the meantime, I'll probably vote for the Liberal Democrats. But yeah, like, essentially, like I said, this video boils down to the whole thing of, well, why do things keep getting worse? Well, that's just how life is. That's one of the inescapable things of life is boom and decline. We see that all through the natural world. And we ourselves are a part of that natural world, whether we believe it, whether we believe ourselves to be or not. We still are. We're still a part of this world. We are still animals, which means that the behaviours correspond. And it'd be nice if people actually take that into consideration more often. And therefore be able to behave accordingly. Really? End of the video, guys. Hang on a second. Pain in the ass, family. Sorry, I just paused and came back. You might, like, that would have looked really weird in the video, but yeah, sorry. It's supposed to be the end of the video. Anyway. So I would just, like, redo this over, but I'm not redoing a half-hour long video. It's just not happening. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. This is going out as is. Fuck it. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. Do you think I'm being too harsh? Do you think I'm being my view here is too harsh? Do you think I'm not giving people enough understanding? Because from my position is because I've looked at the way that people are responding to the situation, and I'm going, you kind of need to buck up. Like, to some level, you do kind of need to buck up until material conditions are ripe enough for you to take advantage of change. Is that too harsh a worldview? Let me know. So this has been what. So like I said, I don't know what the next one's going to be. I'll have a look through it. I still a whole bunch of things I need to do. Billy, I might do a bite-size thing for a video of Shark Ray and Skate Evolution. I might do. my only issue is that the format I do these videos means that I can't just do pictures all the time. Like, I'd have to search it on my phone and then try and like put the pictures and stuff up to the camera. You know, not a technophobe, but like I'm still. I need someone to like suggest to me a video making program that will help me do that. One of the things I did not learn. But yeah, do let me know on that one if there's like a better camera recording system or something where I can bring things on screen and show you what I'm looking at and whatnot. But like, if I'm gonna do an evolutionary, like a bite-sized evolutionary history of an animal, like I'd have to think about that because I've got a bunch of different animals. Like the barn owl is my favourite modern dinosaur. I might do one on badgers. Mealies. It's about a couple of million years old. Or wolves, you know. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I might do because it's just the sharks raising skates thing was just my brain was on one that day or that week. Sorry, and I was just soaking up information. um. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. Um, if you've got any suggestions of things you want me to take a look at, let me know in the comments below. Be reasonable. Like, think about where I'm coming from. I'm not just gonna look at anything. Like, try and think about whether or not this is something about that I'd actually be interested in. But yes, let me know. There's a few things I want to do. I think I'm gonna do either Wednesday or Thursday. I'm gonna try and get out an EnviroVid, the next EnviroVid video. But yeah, this has just been another one of those ad hoc videos where like I had this question running around my brain and I wanted to get it out to the video journal essentially. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. Yeah, freaks, love and blessings, all you wonderful badgers. I saw your service. I'm gonna shoot at your backs, guys. Stay safe.